Hey everyone, and welcome to another exercise for the Sketchbook Challenge. I hope you didn't miss me too much while I was away. I've been traveling, teaching painting workshops, and just adding some new stuff to my website, so I took a little bit of a break from the Sketchbook Challenge, but I'm back with some great new exercises for you all to try. And what we're going to do for the next couple of months is work on figure and portrait drawing. Now, that's probably one of the more difficult things to do when you're drawing, so just be patient and take your time with these things. The first few exercises I want to do are based on things you can do quickly every single day. What we want to do is try to develop really good hand-eye coordination, and there's a couple exercises that I was taught in college that are really effective in creating good hand-eye coordination, how to see things, how to see lines, angles, and all of that. So the first thing we're going to do is a 1-minute sketch of a figure. And what we're going to do is 3 of those. So if you think about it, if you have 3 minutes every day to sit down and just draw 3 figures, that's not a whole lot of time every day, and you'll get a lot better really quickly. It's really surprising, actually. Now, I do have to warn you, it's not easy at first. You might get a little frustrated because your sketches might not look super great to begin with, especially if you're new to drawing figures, but just keep doing it every day. It's like learning a riff on guitar or learning a new instrument. It's not easy at first, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's a gradual process, but it does happen really quickly. Your hand-eye coordination does get a lot better. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to use just a regular white sketch pad here. This is my 1-minute drawing sketch pad. I draw on this every single day for a couple minutes every day. It's just white paper. You don't have to have any special drawing pad. You can use computer paper if you want to and just save it. You want to save it though so you can see your progression. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to pop up the first image, talk about it. What we're going to do is we're going to spend 1 minute looking at the image, 1 minute drawing it, and then we'll do that for 3 different images. Okay, I have a 2B pencil, my white pad here, no eraser. We're not going to erase anything, we're just going to sketch. I've got my phone here to keep time, and I'm just going to have the image pop up. The first image, we'll talk about it a little bit more in detail without the timer, and then we'll start the timer when we start drawing. As you can see here on the image, the things I want to look for are the shoulders, the hips, and the feet. The feet are kind of hidden by a rock, so you don't really have to worry about those too much. But if you look at the hips, that's kind of the main focus here. Is you can see that the hips are shifted down on the left side and up on the right side. So the left hand is lower than the right hand. So you can see that that weight is shifted down onto the left leg. That's one of those important types of things you want to look for. Shoulders are pretty straight across. Usually with poses you'll have a shoulder higher than the other, and that's another angle you can look for to kind of get the weight right on the body. These ones are pretty straight across. This pose is a little bit more simple, so it's not too difficult. The head, when we draw the head, I just usually draw kind of a basic shape, circle, or kind of like an egg shape, not really worrying about too much detail. The main focus is trying to get your hand-eye coordination. So when I look at the image, I'm not really looking at my paper all that much when I draw. I'm mostly looking at the image, and that's going to be hard for you to do starting out. Is you really want to look at the paper while you draw. You do glance down at the paper, but what you're trying to do is train your eye to go along the edges of the body and just have the pencil do the work for you. So that's your hand-eye coordination that you're trying to work on. So just look for the shoulders, the hips, and the feet, and kind of look to see which side is higher than the other. So for this one, the shoulders are pretty straight across, the right hip is higher, and then the feet are kind of hidden by the rock. So I would guess that the left foot is up higher based on how she's standing on the rock. But for this, we'll just kind of make it up as we go. If you're looking for images to draw, you can go to unsplash.com, or there's another place called Paint My Photo if you Google that, and just type in man standing, woman standing. Try to start out with simple poses. You can use your own images, your own photos, but try to do this every single day. Okay, what we're going to do next is I've got my timer here. I'm going to just hit start and then start drawing, and you can see how this is just basically scribbling, sketching. I'm not going to say a whole lot while I go because you just concentrate, but what we'll do is we'll hit start. Hitting that 5 extra seconds gives me enough time to hit start and then go back to my paper. So I'm just going to hit start and we'll start the drawing. First thing I'm going to do is look at the shoulders, and those are pretty straight across. Looking at within the shape now, the body itself has got the little bit of curve, and then we've got those right hips that are a little bit higher, the right hip that's higher. Now I'm looking at the negative space here, looking at that shape. Now again, within the legs, looking at that negative space, not really looking at the figure so much as I am the negative space. So and we've got the ponytail here. So you can see that's a minute. That's pretty quick. So the sketches themselves are really quick, not a whole lot of detail. Once you're done, you can kind of go back and see, you know, what you could have changed. Maybe just this hip would have been a little bit wider there. But for the most part, you know, what you're trying to do is practice your proportions and your hand-eye coordination. So these 1-minute sketches are really quick. Like I said, it's not going to be something that's super easy for you to start out with, but it's a really good practice thing to get your hand-eye coordination down. So, like I said, just keep it really simple. Try to draw negative spaces and train your eye to see those shapes rather than looking at the entire body. Try to look at the image more than you do the paper, and just keep practicing that. So what we're going to do is pull up the next image. Okay, so this time I'm going to give myself 1 minute to look at the image and evaluate what I want to do, and then we'll do 1 minute to draw it. So I'm just going to start this here. Okay, so if we look at this image here, the left hand shoulder is higher than the right hand shoulder. The left hand elbow and right hand elbow are pretty similar height. The hips, the left hip looks a little bit lower than the right hip, based on the shirt mostly. And then the left foot sits lower than the right foot. So those are all things I want to think about when I'm drawing. And there's a little bit of negative space between the right hand elbow and the body, so that's a nice little piece I can draw. And then the front leg has a nice curve to it, so that's a big curve shape, and the head itself is bent down. So those are all little things I want to think about when I'm drawing this image. Okay, so we've got our timer here, and again I'm going to go quick, hit the start button, and again those shoulders go down, so I'm just going to draw that down angle like that. Then we've got the jacket kind of coming up. Then we've got the negative space here that I talked about, and this arm coming down, that, the curve of the back. Okay, so that was our second image. Again, you can kind of go in after and just see, you know, little things you could have adjusted. Probably would have had, draw that line in there. The head's a little bit messed up, but the body, you know, is pretty decent. We've got most of the angles in there right. We've got a good proportion size-wise. But again, you know, just a quick sketch to get that overall shape, get that hand and eye coordination going. Okay, the last image is a little bit more difficult. For you, when you do this, you know, it's only going to take you a few minutes to do. Just find some images and then draw them. Okay, I'll start my timer here and we'll talk about this image. So for this one, it's a little bit more complicated. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the negative space between the arm. That's a little triangle shape. It's a good starting point, and then I can go from there. Since it's hard to see the other, you can only see one shoulder and really only one hip, you have to really focus on more details in this type of figure sketch. But I'm going to draw in the that negative space shape and then go from there. Okay, I'm just going to start my timer and we'll go right in here. We'll draw that negative space shape. And then the front of the body, it's got a nice curve to it. Then you can see the clothes here come down. Got the leg coming out. Still looking at negative space. Okay, and then once again, when you're done, you can kind of look at, you know, kind of define some of your lines here, look at some of the areas you could have worked on a little bit better. This leg should have been a little bit longer, this part a little bit skinnier, foot down a little bit further like this. But you can evaluate what you did after, and that will help you learn what you need to work on and different types of things like that. Okay, so that's how we're going to start out our figure drawing exercises with the Sketchbook Challenge. This is something you can do every single day, at least 5 days a week. It's just three or four, maybe 5 minutes a day, and that's it. And you're going to get better and better at your hand-eye coordination and your sketching abilities. Your sketches aren't going to look like masterpieces. They're not supposed to. They're supposed to be practice for you to get better with your hand-eye coordination. Do this every day and post your results on the Sketchbook Challenge page on Facebook. If you have any questions, you can post those questions there or email me as well. I hope you're enjoying the Sketchbook Challenge. We're going to get more involved here now with figures and portraits. So be ready to challenge yourself. Don't get too intimidated or frustrated with drawing figures. Everybody starts somewhere, and it's not an easy thing to do. If it was, everybody would do it. So just keep practicing, do this every day, post your results on the Facebook page, and you'll get better and better and better. If you're enjoying the Sketchbook Challenge, please feel free to invite your friends. The more the merrier. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again soon.